See love, hear love, speak love, everyone loves Lulu. See love, hear love, speak love, everyone loves Lulu.
Hey there, beautiful. It's me, your girl, Miss Lulu. Welcome to another episode of Everyone Loves Lulu, and I've got a special treat for you like I do every single week. This lovely young lady has been taking care of our community, especially the Chamorro community, for over 20 years. You'd never guess it because she looks so PYT. Exactly. Still a PYT right now. She is the director of the Kutturan Chamoru Foundation, or KCF, and it is a tuition-free. I know, it's crazy. You think that there's actually a product or a group that you don't have to pay a fee for. Well, yes, it's true, and that is KCF, and they've been established since 1993, and it's grown so much, and now it's opened its doors actually to help out more communities, not just the Chamorro community as well. So please put your hands together. I know you are at home right now. Big applause because I'm so excited about this. Miss Heidi CHARGUALAF QUENGA.
Hey, half a day, Miss Lulu. What's up?
Oh my goodness. So half a day again is the greeting in Chamorro.
Yep, it's like
hello.
Talofa, aloha.
Look at
Yeah.
she got it down. She knows all of it over here. She actually called us out. She's like, you know what? I haven't seen any other ethnicity on your show except for Samoans, and then we had to get her on. We're like, please come on and make it more diverse. We promise.
Yep.
Everyone loves Lulu, not just, Samoans.
Yes, we got to speak up for the people. Come on.
Well, Miss Heidi, how have you been?
I've been good.
Yes.
The community's doing well. We're getting by.
Yeah.
The pandemic has...
Absolutely. I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
How has it been, not only for yourself, but for KCF and your community throughout the pandemic?
Yeah, we are a program through the city of Long Beach, so we got shut down pretty quickly.
Yes. Being in
so-
LA County.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Are they
in-
even open now?
They are still not open. Parks and Recs, we've gotten, the notification of we're working on it, but yeah, so we had to quickly move to Zoom and some online platform and actually, do rehearsals and continue the culture and, passing it on in some way.
Well,
And
let's talk
so-
about, because I know not everyone knows what Kutturan Chamoru Foundation is about. So what is it about?
Yeah, so we were formed in 93.
Phew.
Yeah.
When I was born.
Close, very close. So
I was actually born in 94, so it works out.
So our founder, Regina Kenga, my mother-in-law, she started the group. She just had the foresight of back in the day in Harbor City, there was the Pacific Islander Festival, PICC, and she noticed like all the other islands had
Representation.
Exactly. So she was like, let me step this up. And she gathered nieces and nephews and just started a group. And it's all about, when she bestowed it to myself and, others, she was basically like, please don't charge the kids to learn their own culture.
Oh,
And,
that's so beautiful.
we're all looking at each other like, that is not a good business plan.
Right?
We have to figure this
So
out.
grand opening, grand closing is what we're
Basically,
trying to
right?
do.
We didn't want that. So, we continued. It was bestowed in 97,
Wow.
98, yeah. And we just took it from there. And we're still a backyard, grassroots kind of group. But we have, about 80 to 100 dancers and families
Holy
involved.
Cow.
Yeah.
And it's definitely grown because then they grow. Well, and the goal has been to pass on your culture and your traditions and your language.
Yeah.
And it's happened, your song through dance.
Yeah.
And now that you're, beginning dancers and you're beginning members of the group are now actually passing it on.
And they're bringing their
And the goal,
children.
like you
Yeah,
said.
we're like in our 4th generation now. So, yeah,
It's truly a family affair.
It is. I actually got a text today, a couple of the dancers that went back home to Guam. And the younger sister, she's 14, she hadn't been to Guam. And so being with the group, they had been with the group for a decade now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's our retention is really good in that way.
Yes.
More than half of our group has been with the group over 10 years.
See, that's beautiful. There's not a turnover rate, right?
Not really.
And especially because you guys are pretty much the only thing that's around for your specific community.
Well,
Chamorro.
we've duplicated ourselves. We are part of the larger, Tano group back home under the Master, of Chamorro Dance, Frank Rabon. So.
And you actually received an award from him, right?
Yeah, in 19. There I'm going back. I'm showing my age again.
In 1927.
Right. So in 2019.
Yeah, okay.
So there's an annual Chamorro festival that happens at Cal State San Marcos.
Cool.
Yeah, in March, which is Mes Chamorro, which is the month that we celebrate being Chamorro.
Oh.
Even though we're Chamorro every
Every
day.
day, right? But March only.
Yeah, only March. So we do
is
that
when you're
festival.
super Chamorro.
Yeah. It's like, you get to wear it
Right.
all. Wear it on your chest.
Right.
Your stickers are like they're
Oh, I love it.
yeah, they're even
dude.
better, right, on the day.
It's like half a day, everything.
Yeah.
Like
Half a day-
Kelliguen,
half a day,
all your food,
day.
right?
Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, I thought, they came out from Guam, and I thought, oh, we're giving a presentation to Chet Lu, who throws the event, and it was their 10th anniversary. So, and then the lieutenant governor of Guam was out, and he's the first, openly gay lieutenant governor.
What?
Yeah, and then we have our first Magahaga, our first female governor.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually she's the first indigenous,
Oh,
woman of
from
all
Guam.
of the islands
Okay,
of
that's
the
pretty
Pacific.
cool.
Yeah, she's the first female. So shout out to
Yes.
Like,
Wow. Way to go, Guam,
Yeah.
for kind of setting the bar right
yeah,
there.
yeah. We're actually, I'm proud of that. But so the lieutenant came out, and the congressman of Guam, Michael San Nicolas, and so they're like, they called me up, and they were just like reading off this bio, and I'm thinking, what is going on?
Oh, they didn't even prep you.
No, they did not.
They're like, can you show up? Kind of
Right?
like Everyone Loves Lulu. Like, hey, just can you come be a guest? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
What? You need prep work for what?
And then I noticed like all of the dancers, because we even duplicated ourselves. We started a group in San Diego called Unahit.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so shout out to Janice and all the kids in Unahit and all the families. So yeah, they were all there, and I'm just like, what is going on? So he starts reading the bio, and then he says, I'm, certifying you from the Guam legislation, and Uncle Frank and the tribal council. I'm the 14th member of the tribal
Wow.
council. I'm only one of two from the Continental US.
Wow.
I'm actually the first one that wasn't even born on the islands or raised on the islands
That
to
is
have
a
this
part of-
title. Yeah.
And so what exactly is the
certification.
title?
Fafa'någue.
And what does that mean?
So that's like a certified instructor, Chamorro
Okay.
cultural instructor.
like, you're not just, going and instructing people for no. You're like, oh, no, you actually legit.
Yeah, I have papers now.
Right? So it's like an equivalent of, in England when they knight you, like,
Yeah, kind of. So it's like equivalent to a
So you're like
kumahulu.
Lady Heidi.
To a
Yeah.
kumahulu,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So to
okay.
a kumu, yeah. To a
Cool.
kumu. So yeah.
What
so-
an honor.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't even let you know, so
They
you were
did
just
not.
standing there starstruck, like, thank you. I didn't have a speech ready. I didn't.
And I am so like that is not me. I'm so prepared, and so
I know.
so yeah, it was an
Having to be off the
emotional
cuff.
day. Yeah, it was. And then they all came in and they all manginged me, which would be to like smell my hand, which takes in the essence of my
Of your
energy and my,
awesomeness?
yeah, and
They're like, we want to sniff you for all your glory that you are, and we want some of that on us.
yeah. So
Oh,
that's
that's
one
beautiful.
of our traditions that you mangingi, your elders. So and the line was so long, I was just like, oh, I'm so
So
embarrassed.
I'm so glad it was before COVID, because that wouldn't happen.
that wouldn't happen. That definitely would
You're like,
happen.
I'm gonna need you to be 6 feet away, trying to take in my essence right
Yeah.
now. Okay.
So
That's incredible.
I'm known as Aunty Heidi, but around that kind of circle, I'm Saina Heidi.
Which is
like
little,
Elder
Oh,
Heidi, yeah.
elder. Wow.
Yeah,
Dang.
I
girl.
know. I know. I try to cover my grades, but when you hear that title, it's
You're
okay.
like, I've
It's
earned
okay.
these, definitely.
Yeah,
Aw.
it's okay.
Well, I've always known you around all your kids and your group as Aunty Heidi.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's just so awesome. And I know you don't have children of your own, but you actually have a
Oh, yeah.
shit ton of kids.
Yeah,
You know, like,
yeah.
they all
There's
are
a few
your
thousand
babies.
that I've I mean, 3 are my girls, my Dodges, you know, so they are still a part of it, and you know, they love them to death, you know.
Ugh.
Yeah, so yeah.
Is it a trip for you to see it? Like you said, it's in the 4th generation now.
Yeah.
For Kutturan and KCF, and what does that feel like to just kind of know it from the beginning, and still you've held true to the fact that it is tuition free.
I know.
I don't know how you're doing it. By the grace of God.
You have to fundraise. I mean,
those plate sales must be legit.
right? I'm telling you. And you know what Chamorros are good at? Raffle ticket sales.
Okay,
That's
what I'm
where we
talking
found our
about.
niche. But really, it's just we had to, you know, as you said, you know, since now we're in the 4th generation, you know, our kids started to graduate. So then what did? We started a language program, and then after that, so it's like on our off dance season, and then we started a immersion camp.
Wow.
Called Fafa'någue, so let's share. So we bring in community, you know, partners and cultural experts that just, you know, do presentations, and then help the kids in different ways learn about their culture. And obviously the foundation is that they learn, you know, the values of the Chamorro culture.
Right.
So.
Well, you know, me growing up in Samoa, and I actually was born in Guam.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I did not know that.
I was born in Guam. My dad he is still an engineer for airplanes, and so he was contracted out in Guam. And, you know, magically I happened out there. But I mean, I'm
Right?
Samoan, but they always used to, he's like, oh, this is my Guamanian. But I never knew the actual term of Chamorro
The
until
indigenous people.
Yes.
Yeah. So Chamorro.
And I got schooled real quick. You know what? I mean, because a lot of the time I feel that the Chamorro community is kind of overlooked, or they're not really
Yeah.
like in the forefront of certain things, unless, of course, the reason why I know them so well is because we take up the majority per capita when it comes to the military.
Absolutely. I
So-
think, you know, in the early 2000s, it was 1 in every 8 person on the island was in the military.
Was in the military.
I
And you
think
have a
now
huge
it's
base in
like
Guam.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't
Base.
it's like
they
take
own
up
like
the whole
a
island.
third of the island.
Yeah,
So there's
crazy.
a lot of you know, decolonization happening, and all these coalitions that are just like Fafa'någue Chamorro and Allied Marianas, just all kinds of groups that are just fighting for this. You know, it's
an ongoing battle.
Yeah, I've even created, you know, presentations where kind of modernized Chamorro dance, and brought up that whole idea of that, like, you know, desecration of our ancestors and their burial sites, and the military just putting it in a plastic bag for a year to the side, and not having some sort of traditional council that actually, you know, oversees things like that. Or, you know, it's just it's an ongoing fight, and I'm sure we'll get there, because this generation.
I hope you get to see it in your lifetime. I mean, I know that you're absolutely doing like the foundation of it to, like you said, like making sure that the generations that come along actually still preserve it. Because is the Chamorro community at risk for losing their culture?
Within 1 generation, we can completely lose our language.
Oh,
Yeah. So we are on like the top 20 list of soon to be lost languages. So, you know, like with the immersion camp, we even do scholarships. Like we just finished off, we will be presenting them in a couple weeks, and, you know, 2 $1,000 scholarships. So it's like Chamorros in the diaspora outnumber those back in the Marianas now.
wow.
So groups like Kutturan Chamoru Foundation, we helped develop a group called Haliparagupa, you know, our Roots for Tomorrow out in D.C. There's Imahen Tano in San Diego. There's Irencha in San Diego. There's, you know, we're all trying to at least hang on, because we don't have like the Samoan culture, the Tongan culture. We don't have the organized churches.
Right.
We don't have that because we're Catholic. The majority of us are Catholic.
Because of like when you were actually
'Cause
colonized?
the Spaniards colonized us, so.
And so is there a lot of a mixture of kind of like your language with Spanish?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I notice your names,
Yeah.
a lot of it has
Absolutely.
Spanish
So those
influence.
are surnames from the ships that came over, and yeah.
Wow. So that makes it even like tougher, that uphill battle trying to sift through
Yeah.
what is really indigenous
Exactly.
Chamorro and what is, and Mariana's, right? And what
Yeah.
is, okay. And so what consists, like Guam? So there's the Mariana Islands. They're all part
That's
of,
the all like
Okay.
the Northern Marianas are all our islands. There's 13 islands. You can live on 4.
wow.
So Guam is the largest. It is an unincorporated U.S. territory. I'm getting technical now.
No, but it's true because, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
same thing as
So it's like Puerto
Samoa.
Rico. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Puerto Rico, not like Samoa. Samoa's a little bit different.
Different, right.
Because you guys are U.S. nationals, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we are U.S. citizens.
Yeah, but then
So that just
from Guam, though, you're still not able to vote.
for the president.
I don't get that.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother
So,
topic.
in other words, you have sacrificed a third of your island, and then on top of it, all your eligible males and females end up. It's either right after high school they go into the military and they make up a huge force,
Speak on it.
and then you can't even vote on the president.
You have no
That's bullshit.
Commander in chief. No, you cannot.
And then doesn't the whole island though? Don't you only? I think I read somewhere, and please correct me if I'm wrong. You only count for like 5 votes or something like that. Like for the president, you have a representative that
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
like won for
Yeah.
the whole population.
Right. Yes.
Oh my gosh, how do you guys deal with that?
Well, then we also have our 3 other islands that you can live on that, is Tinian, Rhoda, and Saipan. And they're actually a commonwealth of the Northern Marianas. So they're CNMI. So it's kind of like we want to go to that direction. But at the time,
Right.
after World War II, it was,
You didn't really have
we
a
didn't
choice.
have the option.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
We didn't have the option.
Yeah, kind of like Hawaii, but you guys are still in that. Like,
Yeah.
and you're not reaping the benefits of
No.
it as well. So like you're a citizen, so it's easy to get in and out of the
They
country.
are
but-
federally funded through, the government, the U.S. government. but-
which I get, but at the same time, I guess in the fine print, they didn't really say what you were giving up,
Yeah. No. we
and
did not.
that's the shitty part about
Yeah.
it.
So for us out here, it is important to remember where that you come from, so that you know where you're going. And a lot of us, are really, even in the intermarriage, interracial marriages and things like that. So it gets smaller and smaller.
percentage, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
so
are there actually full-blooded Chamorros still left?
I'm
You're full-blooded. That's
I'm
so
as full as
awesome.
you can get.
Okay.
I'm probably 3/4.
Yeah, because there's still like that, like
yeah.
you said, that Spanish influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
The
like,
eyes.
girl, you mixed
They're
somewhere.
real.
Great grandpa.
Yeah. Grandma.
Grandma.
Yeah, yeah.
That Spanish sailor over there. I'm like, oh, there's the evidence right there, Heidi, in your eyes, literally.
I know.
I ain't mad at it though. Okay, somebody give me some of those. Okay, so. And that's why your mother-in-law had set
Yeah.
up, saw this,
Yeah.
saw this kind of
And then
happening
when
and
we be-
seeing it
yeah.
being extinct.
We became a nonprofit in 2008 because we knew we need to go after, federal grants and be a nonprofit so people can donate and actually, help the cause.
Yes.
So, yeah, we've been able to manage all these years. We're in our 28th year.
Holy
We're
cow!
going into our 3rd decade.
And you're only
We're
29.
ending
So
our
how
3rd
does
decade.
that
I
even
know,
happen?
right?
28 years. Congratulations. What
Yeah.
a feat to
We've
overcome.
survived. We're surviving a pandemic.
Yeah. It didn't wipe y'all out. So was that kind of scary also? Because for us Samoans, we were very grateful that that COVID-19 never made it to Samoa, because it would literally, I think, wipe out our island. Because we have so many underlying conditions. Our hospital is not equipped to handle that kind of.
We're in the same boat. Guam, the Marshall Islands, New Zealand was able, Marshall Islands they were all able to shut their borders.
Right.
We were not completely. We could only so much. But yeah, they're pretty much open fully now,
Okay.
maybe at 75%. But when it all happened out here, and it affected our community so harshly, we are actually the #1 racial group, Pacific Islanders, when it comes to the death rate and then actual COVID cases.
I am not surprised. I'm not surprised mainly because of, like I said, we are, for lack of a better term, victims of all the pleasures of,
Yeah.
processed foods, of underlying conditions,
Yeah.
of like diseases that are
Heart
diabetes,
disease,
things that are definitely
cancer.
on avoidable, but like nutrition. So then we're put in that group that kind of is very susceptible
Yeah.
to consuming all those things that then causes all these other things.
So I'm actually also, I do a lot of community work.
Yes, you have over 20 years in
I
under your
know.
belt, almost
I
30, girl. That's amazing. How do you, I mean, before we get into that, but how do you actually wake up and still choose to carry on the fight? Because it can be, I can only imagine, frustrating, especially when there's such a small group.
So, like you were born in Guam, away from Samoa, right?
Right.
I was born in Germany.
Holy sh-
That's why my
You
name
were a
is
little
Heidi,
far away.
right?
That
Just
makes
a little.
sense.
So my dad was in the Army, 24 years, and we lived everywhere.
Yes.
The closest to Guam we lived was Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, but he retired out of Presidio in San Francisco, and then moved down here, eventually, and it was after graduation, and so it felt more like home because our community was larger down here, especially Pacific Islanders.
Yes.
In Southern
Yeah,
California.
definitely.
Yeah, so Long Beach is home now. It's really weird to say that because I
Yeah.
was in the Bay for so long, but we moved three times. We moved every 3 years, I should say.
Yeah.
Every time.
So every time the station changed, it was
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But the first time I went to Guam, I was 7, and it was like this homecoming, this big homecoming, and I felt totally connected to the island.
At 7 years old.
Yeah,
You knew
I
where
knew
that was home.
Where my grandparents were, that was home. So that feeling, I've always wanted to transfer and share and teach the kids out here that no matter, like, if you've never even been there,
Yes.
this is your home.
Right.
And I've had the honor and the opportunity to bring some of our kids home for the first time.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, so Guam was the host of the Festival of Pacific Arts,
Yes.
which happens every 4 years, right? So
It's
I was
our
able
Olympics
to bring
of Arts.
Yeah, I've been to Samoa too.
Yeah.
I went in 2008.
I
so-
remember.
But yeah, we had it in 2016 and brought out 39 dancers with me from across the states. Yeah.
And was the majority of them their first time going?
Not majority. I would say
a good
probably
amount.
like a third. They've never been
Wow.
back home. Yeah.
So that must have been just
Oh, it was beautiful. I got to take them to our family land in Inarahan, to Nomia, and we got to, do our Aloha ceremony. So just bestow them with jewelry from my family's land,
Wow.
and just do a bendition, a blessing to them and to the island, and thanking our ancestors for just giving us the strength to continue. And I've been able to do that. I actually did that in 2019 in Long Beach.
Yes.
So what I did, I invited the kids, and I was like, clean up the beach. And I didn't give them bags, didn't give them gloves, nothing. I said, clean the beach up because this is what connects us to home. And they were just like, why, Auntie? And no questions asked,
Like,
right?
are you right?
I'm
There's
a Fafa'någue.
right.
But anyway, so
you
they
just say
yeah.
okay.
So they did, and then we went through the process of a coconut, and how when you get to the middle, to the faja, the sweet part, the heart of the coconut, the best part of the coconut, they got to try it. Some of them never even seen the parts of a coconut opened up like that all the way to the middle.
Yeah, that's definitely our fruit of life that
Yeah,
connects
so then-
all Pacific Islands.
Right? So I bestowed them with alahas, with jewelry. Like, I'm wearing a spondylus right now. This is like back in ancient times, it was like how we exchanged money.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so this was like our money. So a lot of our artifacts, or replications of the artifacts are found in the burial sites. So that's how we can connect
Wow.
and keep that going at least, So you'll see people wearing like sanahis, like this is a sanahi that a male would wear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a male would wear. So it is in the
But you're a
shape of a
boss,
half
so-
moon. So I wear it on my wrist to honor our males. So yeah, and then turtle shells. It's just to keep the reproduction of our kids and keep that cycle going of teaching and learning. And you're always learning. I'm always learning. No matter
Right.
what title, whatever, call me auntie, whatever. I'm always learning. And in the work that I do, I'm always a student. whether I act like it or not. But yeah, there's so much to learn. So much to learn.
Well, I just love that your door has, I mean, ever since I met you, you've always, like, your home, wherever that is. But in Long Beach, like, your door was always open.
It still is.
Yeah. It's like constantly where
It's a
you
swinging
have, yeah, that revolving door of all your kids and all of your members, and I mean, and just your people, and you've adopted other cultures into it as well, who have just seen your cause and what you've been doing. And I commend that, because I mean, yes, that the Chamorro community is endangered, right? And like your language, but Samoa honestly is not that far off from that happening. Because I noticed such a separation of those who are born out here or born around the world and not born in Samoa. And actually, I mean, being born one place is one thing, like you being born in Germany, but yet you're still so connected to Guam. But yet for us, it's the same thing, It's like those who don't live on the island. Like when you're not surrounded by it constantly, you can lose it so quick.
You can, but I mean, groups like Langafa, they have online Samoan
I know.
classes.
I was so excited that started to happen.
Yeah, so those are partners. We done some cultural exchange, but I remember even talking about how to do that switch to online, even with their bylaws and helping them kind of get started. So we have to do it. For me.
And you have to move with the times. You have to be ever changing. Yeah. And I know, do you get a lot of pushback from your elders per se, or the older generation when it comes to making things more technology friendly?
No, honestly, because if you have the patience to help them and just go to their level and humble yourself, then that respect level, it can happen, that teaching phase of your elders.
Right, and you're not coming off as a know-it-all.
Exactly.
Because that doesn't go over very well. I'm still scared of my mom. Like, she'll back at I'm a grown-ass woman, and she even looks at me sideways. I'm like, ooh.
Fear my mama.
All day, every day. Oh my gosh, I'm
Happy
really
Mother's Day.
I know that's coming up. That's really instilling that in my daughter right now, just to fear me.
Right.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's talk about some of the projects that you are into. I know that there's so many. So I'm really, again, I don't know when you sleep because you still have a day job. Your background is in accounting. So how does that go? So
and
now
operationals manager.
Oh, okay,
right? Operational manager. So yeah, it's finance and accounting, but I'm not a CPA or anything like that. But I'm in Aries, so balancing and like.
So are you in April?
Order. I'm March.
March. Okay.
But so that's.
You're in the brink.
Yeah.
Okay.
That stuff just, if it's in order, it works for me. If it's not in order, I don't understand.
Well, and it probably then makes sense for your group because you're very organized.
Yeah.
And you're like, nothing's falling through the cracks over here.
Well, we're human. Everybody's human. Some things do. But duplicating yourself is important too in the work that we're doing. So yeah, there's a lot of projects going on. I happen to be like the community engagement lead for the Southern California COVID-19 response team.
Yes, I saw you post a bunch of that, so tell us about that.
Yeah, so we started a little over a year ago. We have about 20 community-based organizations and churches and, even just NHPI groups that are part of it. We had a couple grants happening. We did a talk story series. You can go to the website at pacificislanderhealth.org. We'll help you.
PacificIslander.org.
PacificIslanderHealth.org.
Health.org. Okay.
So you can go on there and learn about, what's been happening with COVID. Even we help start a data dashboard for NHPIs. So the state has not all counties are disaggregating our data when it comes to COVID. So we were being lumped with the Asian community, being lumped with...
Kind of like the census. So
exactly.
We're not counted.
We're not counted. So it's along those lines. So now I want to say over 20 of the counties in California, 17 counties are actually disaggregating our data.
Wow, that's a step.
It's getting there, but we're, it's a fight. So
So then a lot of it, we don't even know specifically our cases a lot of the time then, because like you said, we're lumped in
With the Asian people.
Asians.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I mean, I was remiss to actually mention it last week, but it is Asian American Pacific Islander American Month, well, Heritage Month. Jeez, they had to give us like the longest.
I know. Give us our own month.
I was like, hey, what the heck? Asian American, Pacific Islander American. But yeah, happy month to us, right? So I was
API
like,
month, yeah.
May. So, but I mean, you guys already celebrate in March for Chamorros, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, with SoCal Pickard, you know, we're actually, gosh, there's so many things happening. There's a lot of grants coming through. We have, you know, obviously the website we're putting together. We just had a vaccination clinic.
Okay, and that's specific for Pacific Islanders?
Yeah, but I mean, it's open to everybody, obviously. But now we're having mobile sites at our churches.
Nice.
So this was at a
So it can
UMC
just set
church,
awareness.
a Tongan UNC church, and then soon we'll have one in Compton at one of the Samoan churches, and we're working on one in Long Beach, and there's been several. There's one coming up in San Diego.
Yeah.
So San Bernardino is working with churches out there too. So we're trying to just get our community healthy, happy, moving forward. I know we lost a lot of our, you know, our elders.
Well, I think it
and
was
our
actually something that
family
you
members.
posted, or I actually think I got that information from you, us Pacific Islanders being number one for, you know, deaths.
COVID cases and
Yes,
deaths, yeah.
COVID cases and deaths
Yeah.
per capita for our people. That's like, that was like a big wake up call, you know, for us, that for some reason we are a little bit more susceptible to dying from it.
Unfortunately, yeah, we're living in multi-generational homes. We are, you know, essential workers.
Yeah.
So when we had to
So our
self-isolate,
exposure is
yeah,
actually a lot more than most people.
yeah, and we have to work.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta work. So
And like
whether
you
you were
said-
feeling the symptoms or not, you would go to work.
Yeah.
You know, so it was educating our community on how to do those things, and
But
that
then
was
on top
hard.
of it,
continues to.
we tend to kind of suffer in silence a lot of the time
Oh,
when it comes to,
absolutely.
we are in denial a lot of the time that we're even sick, right?
Yeah.
And we'd never go to the doctor. I mean, I don't want to say never, but the majority of us kind of avoid it like a plague or the pandemic.
Yeah.
Going to the doctor. And so just setting that awareness on your part, like I appreciate it because it's an ongoing battle talking to my elders
Yeah.
about taking care of themselves, you know? And because God is the forefront a lot in our community, you know, God will take care of it. And I have to remind them, it's like, God takes care of those who take care of themselves. And then I get slapped upside the face. But, you know, and how has that challenge been? Kind of just like setting awareness and really kind of pushing our people to go, hey, education is key. Just learning a little bit more so that you can make that choice.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be starting to push out a new communication, like vaccine confidence sort of digital platform that will help, you know, understand in language.
Yes.
You know, most of the work that we do it in Chamorro, Marshallese, Hawaiian, Samoan, and Tongan. We're trying to do it in Palauan, Fijian, and other Pacific Islander, you know, languages that need that translation. So understanding the different vaccines, understanding the symptoms that you get,
The
and
possible side effects. and
yeah.
just taking the fear out of it,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
that's the biggest thing.
we had a talk story series that you can see on the website that, you know, we were helping our veterans, we were helping our youth, you know, how to set up a place to have, you know, an educational spot, you know, to just to learn how to, you know, start school online because we
Right.
all got thrown into that, right?
Yeah.
And then we had an anti-Asian, you know, kind of support through faith, and we had two pastors, one Asian American and one Samoan, and just kind of opening up that conversation on that we are in solidarity with the whole topic. You know, it's not really affecting Pacific Islanders,
But because we are lumped in.
but we are lumped in. So, but we need them to understand that it's affecting them, and that
Right.
we're here to support them.
Right.
You know, so we don't want to take away the, you know, the light that's happening on them, you know, or to shine that light on them so that they can ensure that they get the proper, you know, care and just notice, like,
Yeah.
it's happening all over. So
Were you at, I mean, I know you were probably exposed, but did you get COVID?
I did not.
Okay.
So I was in the house. Even my parents and my family are just like, no, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I'm vaccinated. I got vaccinated pretty early on.
And which one did you get?
I got Moderna.
Okay.
Yeah, so as a community health worker, volunteer, through the Pacific Islander Health Partnership, gosh, we just vaccinated about 150 Pacific Islanders in Orange County.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's everywhere that we're trying.
I actually just got an alert today saying that Orange County, because I'm in Orange County, I mean, I'm a Long Beach girl, but I live in Orange County now, and all of Orange County is available for the vaccine,
Yeah.
16 and older.
You could walk up there. You can make an appointment. If you go on our website, for any of the counties, you can actually just put in your zip code, and it'll show you what availability appointments there are.
And again, that website, Pacific Island Health.
PacificIslanderHealth.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's got all of those different sites for you. And now actually going into the vaccine, you know, with your knowledge of it, what are some of the, I guess, misconceptions that you kind of have to educate our people? Because I know a lot, just I can only speak for, you know, the Polynesians that I know, and Islanders that I know, and 90% of them are not wanting to get the vaccine.
Well, I think some folks think, you know, the government conspiracy, it's going to be a chip. They're going to be able to track me down. It's like,
They
can
already
already on your cell phone, people. Like, come on.
Like we were injected with a chip from birth. No?
Yeah. It's in your foot, guys.
You're
Come
right.
on. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, if you've had COVID, you don't need to get the vaccine. You know, no, you should. You know,
Because I had COVID.
Yeah,
I'm actually coming on a year of,
wow.
yeah, I had it early on. And I know. Just kidding. I'm like, hey, now, you're already vaccinated. But July 11th, I will never forget it. So it's coming up already. I can't believe it's been a year since I first, you know, got it. And I've been constantly checking to make sure that whether I don't have the antibodies anymore or whether I still do. And that kind of pushed me lower on the list for getting the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you still have the antibodies. You're okay. Like, stand in line for people who don't have it. But
right.
yeah, and the more and more, I guess, when you start to hear all these stories and all these things, and you're just like trying to decipher through like what's real, what's fictional, are they really...
It's going to change your DNA.
Yes, that's a major one. And then also for females, like how is it going to affect
reproductive organs? Like it's like
so no. Okay. Or at least with your knowledge that you have right now,
right.
yeah.
And I'm not a medical professional,
right?
But it's the training that we've been given from medical professionals. We have a few doctors. We have a medical team that's part of SoCal PACRT. So Dr. Kavika, and, you know, we have a respiratory therapist, you know, Poe, and...
Because Joe Sav, definitely, he's the number one leader in not wanting to get the vaccine.
Oh, no.
Sure.
I had a conversation with him.
Oh, good.
He's ready.
Oh, is he ready?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a different conversation.
I told him I will walk him there. I will give him a ride, like, honestly.
You're like, actually, I've got one in my purse. Let me just vaccinate you right here.
We're trying to do, you know, there's one of the churches in Carson, too, we'll hopefully hold an event through a clinic, you know.
Okay, that would be really awesome. Well, because
too.
that was the saddest thing for me. My brother and sister-in-law are one of the heads of their churches in Orange County, and I feel like it was every week. They, in this small church, okay, every week they had a funeral from COVID.
Yeah.
And that tripped me out. That's why when I saw that statistic of Pacific Islanders being the most at risk, I was like, I believe it. I'm seeing it for myself, you know. And that's what's tough for us, especially I think it was a really tough year for our people because culturally, like you said, we're very touchy-feely. We're very community-based. We're like gatherings are our thing. So it hit us hard in that sense because we couldn't gather. But then it's even harder because 10 families live in the same house,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you were saying. And so, and then church and trying to keep it with faith and what's, science. And it was like,
Yeah, our churches were suffering too because they were shut down. They were closed. But we had a wellness phone banking project where, the community groups, we trained them on mental wellness and just listening and calling. They had to contact like over 250 folks in their network, and just we gave them a script and gave them resources. We sifted through like 57 cities, and we had a team that, provided lists of resources and, just help them start a wellness program within their own group, and talk to their folks,
Yeah.
and just check in on them and see how they're doing.
and in
seeing
the
what they
Chamorro
needed.
community, how was that, like mental health wise? How did they handle the pandemic?
I think, for us, we had, I wouldn't say, let me see, in February, we lost two elders, like within just Orange County. And I mean, I attended one of those, and the funeral, and it was, your social distance. This family is like singers, and it just, they sing, they harmonize, and it's beautiful in language. And to see their matriarch, pass, because of COVID, it was really tough. But yeah, it's been hard. I know. We try, Pickard, South,
Yeah.
SoCal. We try. We're continuing. We have other grants that we're going to continue that wellness program, and we're just here to help, connect our folks with resources. And
Yeah, and
Yeah.
how can we help? All us, anybody. How can anybody help your causes that you're a part of?
you can go to our website, KutturanChamorro.org, see what's coming up. We'll be performing virtually at the aquarium in June.
Oh, so it'll be virtual?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
virtual, but you can go there in person too.
Oh,
They're
awesome.
open, I think, up to 50% now.
And that's June 1st already.
June 5th.
Oh, 5th. Okay.
Mhm.
So wow, that's
Yeah.
around the corner.
Right.
That's exciting. Has this been like the first show you
Oh,
guys
this is like the 16th, I think, that we've done all of them
since the pandemic?
Since inception of the aquarium. This will be the first,
that
since
Okay.
we've been shut down from the pandemic.
And
But
how
we can only have like 4 dancers.
Oh,
and
shoot.
we have to wear masks, like yeah.
During the dance? Oh, well, that's gonna be crazy. You guys gonna bedazzle it out with your artwork?
I don't know. We're trying to figure that out now.
Because
but
that's gonna be crazy. I mean, expression is all through your whole body, your
Yeah.
face, and singing, right?
Right.
You're like,
yeah, it's gonna be different.
That's an experience. And I mean, with your foresight or kind of going through it and being in the front line, seeing this community, how long do you think it's going to be for us before it kind of gets back to maybe some kind of normalcy? Or is this going to be our new normal, do you feel?
We're gonna get there. We are getting there. We are 32% vaccinated, fully vaccinated.
I mean, I was very proud of
gonna
my
get there.
island of
Yeah.
American Samoa because they were like the first ones to be
Yes.
all fully vaccinated.
Right? So, and even Guam is the same situation. So we're like, please talk to your
People.
people in the States, like, let them know it's okay. Even Hawaii, like, they're opening up. Like, let them know what you went through. Did you have any symptoms on your second shot? Did you have any symptoms on your first shot? Like,
Right.
how do you feel now? Do you feel protected? Still continue to protect yourself because there's variants. India and Brazil, they're going through
They're going through new strains, right? Are they new strains?
double strains. Yeah. So Canada's only been vaccinated 3%, and they're our bordering country. So we
They're trying to kill it with niceness.
I know. But it's really a preference, right? And how you feel. Most people will do it because they have older parents, they have older relatives. For me, it's like the survival of our culture. Like,
Right.
every time an elder passes, it's like a library that burns down.
Oh,
You know,
yes. That's such
so,
a good point.
Yeah, it's an African proverb that I learned from a Samoan that, it stuck with me. One of our elders passed, not from COVID, but,
But they
the
passed.
funeral was so difficult to have because he was the founder of a foundation that when you go to PIFA, you see this 240 by 40s Chamorro
Yeah,
tents
yeah.
full of artifacts, and that's what he did
He
for
founded
years
that.
and years. Yeah.
And so trying to actually honor his legacy the
Exactly.
way culturally he would have wanted,
Yes.
you couldn't really do it because of all these stipulations of trying to stay safe and oh my gosh, that's so, I mean, that's what we go through too, because we have especially if we're doing it culturally
Yeah.
and traditionally, Samoan wise, there's been so many, we've had some of our deaths and funerals postponed months. Which is crazy, you know what I mean?
It just doesn't happen.
No,
Right? I know.
And then it becomes, then you start to worry. I mean, superstition wise, and then faith wise, it's like, you know, it's bad luck for the body to be rotting on ground, and it's like, oh my gosh, curses. It's just like,
and that's the part that you know we struggle with, right? Culturally, is it going to be okay? Is it accepted? Are elders going to understand? Will our ancestors be upset? You know, it's that fine line where we're all going through this together,
Right.
you know, and the last pandemic was 100 years ago.
right?
So, you know, no one
Yeah.
is really around from that time.
Yeah, to talk to us about it and go like, hey, and I mean, obviously,
There's
we still
no
progressed.
toolkit. There's no there's no manual on how to go through a pandemic. And that's SoCal too, PRCRT. They want to be able to have something like that so that we don't get caught with our pants down when it
Right,
happens
which was
again.
well, and what's funny is, and then we have that kind of mentality here in the U.S., especially in the United States, being a world power, that it doesn't happen to us. You know, and we had some notifications when the pandemic first came out, and it's like, yeah, but that's over there.
Right?
Like,
I
we're
know.
America. Like, well, we're the United States. We don't get that.
Yeah.
We got it covered. I mean, and just on a more local level in Samoa, we didn't have things put in place for a tsunami.
Right?
Which is crazy until we had a tsunami. And then it was like, oh, shoot, we probably should have.
Tsunami warning, right? Give me something.
We're only smack in the middle of the ocean, the biggest ocean, and we're bound to. Are you kidding me? It's like a chance every single day. And yet, you know, we talk about it and it's out of sight, out of mind. If it's not
Yeah.
happening, it's, you know,
I
probably won't see it in
know.
our
I
lifetime.
know.
And then look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It was crazy, especially in the beginning. I know with myself, because I am so social, and then on top of it, we're entertainers, right? Like, I'm like, what are we gonna do? Because it hit that community, and being Pacific Islanders, singing and
Yeah.
enter-
Gathering.
entertainment is kind of a lot of our bread and butter, you know, like with the concerts and the tours. And I mean, my husband is with Common Kings, and it's
Right.
like, there's our livelihood completely
Yeah.
shut down. And I'm like, how are we going to maneuver and function
And
going
that's
forward?
the struggle that everyone went through and is continuing to go through.
Yeah. Because like you said, it's still not open in Long Beach fully. And then you have like the kids, right? Like going back to school, and now this weird kind of
Half.
Yes.
Yeah. Half in, half out. 2 days a week, 3 days a week.
like what that's so, I mean, the teachers alone, I can't even imagine. And then just hearing my and you're a teacher in your community. And so it's like trying to figure out these poor kids and how much they're going through right now. You know, it's hard enough for adults, let alone our youth.
Yeah, so even with us being like virtual rehearsals and virtual like celebrations, and you know, obviously the attendance has gone down, but it's just, you know, you have to keep trying.
Yeah.
For me, even if one kid shows up, I'm still gonna act like there's 100 kids there,
Yeah.
because you can you know, you can have an effect on that child and really.
And word of mouth, that's how we pass on our stuff mainly, is
Yeah.
still through our storytelling.
Yeah.
Right? And person to person. Wow. Well, good luck to us in that, and definitely keep up the great work when it comes to that. But I wanted to talk about one of the projects that you let us know about, which is the Tahasu.
Tahasu,
Yeah.
to remember.
To remember. Okay. See, I got to remember
Right?
Tahasu. To even remember. Yeah, I want to wrap it up that way, like talking about that project, because I was floored when I actually got to see it, and just production value alone, and then also just that whole
The
company.
concept,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, the concept for that specific 6-minute video,
Yeah.
right? But then also, I didn't even realize it was part of PIC. What?
Yeah, so the Pacific Island Communications, they fund, Pacific Islander films. So this was
And there were so many.
there's so many. They've been around. I remember at San Francisco State, we had the first like stateside, film festival with them.
So cool.
Yeah, back in the late 90s.
Holy cow. I'm just
not
getting wind of
gonna
it.
age myself, but late 90s.
Late night. Well, I can't even believe that. I mean, I can't believe that I haven't been woke to it as much as I needed to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
especially being in media and in entertainment. But I had like a sense of pride just watching
Oh.
that. I mean, and Tehasu is part of it was picked out of hundreds, right, of projects
Well, yeah.
or close to
Quite
it.
a few. Yeah.
To be on PBS.
Yeah, so it'll be online that we can all view. It's a mini film. It just talks about how a cultural group, a Pacific Islander cultural group, a Chamorro
Yeah.
cultural group, had, continues to preserve the culture and perpetuate the culture through even the pandemic.
Yeah.
So our intent was to keep the kids connected and create new content and to remember our elders while we were doing it. And Neil Tinkham, he's half Chamorro. He's the director, and came to me with the project. I told him I had written a grant, and the grant kind of went another direction, and I really wanted to do something in creating content and working with the kids, and so that was his idea. And so the struggles of like the dog barking in the back when you're trying to learn
Your
a
kids
key or
screaming.
something. Kids are screaming, or
Like you don't know where the mute button is,
Yeah.
and it's like hello video upside
The
down
host-
sideways.
yeah, the host drops off. You're just like, what is
Like,
going on?
are you there?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really impressive. Just the whole concept was so cool. You have to check it out. You just sign up for free and you can watch this magnificent short film along with so many others. But
So it's on the Asian Pacific Festival.
oh, dude,
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah. If you
And-
look up "Remembering Our Daughters" or something like that.
Yeah,
it's in there.
it was like was it Daughters from the Ocean?
Yeah, Daughters of the Ocean. Oceania. Uh-huh.
So awesome. I mean, just it starts off with what our everyday looks like right now, which is on your computer, your laptop, and the cursor, the mouse is like moving around trying to sign in and
Find
get
Zoom or Teams or
like,
whatever.
let me log into my stuff, and then like you see the videos, and I just love how step by step, like you said, the struggles of trying to.
Yeah.
And then you guys actually wrote a song, a chant.
Yeah, a chance.
Through that. And so it was kind of like the journey of you writing this chant.
What was amazing was when we were actually writing the content, and Micah Garrido, he was the one. Micah Menaitai, you can find him on YouTube too. He's a
He was the one with the guitar, right?
So he guided
It was
us
really cool.
through. He guided us through, and he just kept pulling stories out of us and giving you 10 minutes, giving you 3 minutes to write about this, and then we, you'll see like how we actually pulled it together and pulled it from the different, people and folks and the kids, and just putting the ideas together, and then it came out to this, and we, worked with folks back home in translating it and working out, the pronunciation and just making sure, So
I thought, and you actually completed it. Like you have a chant from that. And
yeah, we completed New Year's Eve.
Holy cow.
It was New Year's Eve of last year. Yeah.
Are you guys going to perform it?
Yeah, it'll
okay.
become part. It'll obviously become part of our repertoire.
And what does it say? Like, what is your chant saying?
It's saying to remember our elders, and that even as strong as like a banyan tree, that the roots of that are where we come from, and that we will always remember our elders in what we do. So even like our slogan is Gikinelemtenta Tahagwi Ihaleta. So in our roots, in our movements, we reach for our roots. So whether we're dancing, whether it's through action, whether it's through volunteerism, if it's, whatever we're doing, like always remember that, you know, someone is guiding you, and it's your ancestors that are guiding you.
Rock on, man.
You know?
That's so beautiful, and just how important it is for us, like you said, to preserve our cultures, our individual cultures,
Absolutely.
as a people. Because I mean, us Samoans, we are constantly being lumped in with Hawaiians, right? And we're like, we're cousins, but we're completely different.
Whatever they see me, they're like,
right, you're
I've
lost.
gotten Fijian, I've gotten Tahitian, I've gotten
Right.
everything.
You're like,
Samoan.
you're French,
I've gotten-
right?
I was like, oui.
Well, and that must be even more confusing because of your eyes.
But when someone says, you're Chamorro, huh? And it's like,
You're like,
whoa.
Excuse me? What does
They're
that
like,
mean?
yeah, I asked them, like, what do you mean? Like, you have the look. I said,
And you're like, what is that look?
I hope it's a good look.
Right.
Like, I don't know how to take this.
Okay,
What?
because sometimes they be doing some backhanded compliments
Right.
over there. I remember so many times when they're like, when somebody would actually say, "Oh, you're a Polynesian." I'm like, "Yes." It's like, you know, and then they'll finally guess someone, and then they go, "Wow, you're like the only pretty Samoan I've ever come across." I'm like,
Wow.
"What kind of bullshit?"
Right? How
I'm like,
rude.
so what is your image of, you know, Samoans? And so when people just kind of stick their foot in their mouths, and that just comes from them not knowing and us not
It's
educating.
an opportunity to educate them.
Absolutely.
I see that as an opportunity to educate
Yes,
them.
or when I tell them like, "Hey, I'm Samoan." I remember when I was in Utah and finishing school, right? And one of the police officers was like, "Oh, what, you know, what ethnicity are you?" Or and then I said, "Oh, I'm Samoan," and he's like, "Oh, you know, you can't be." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're not in a gang." And I'm like,
Wow.
"Excuse me?" I was like, "What the hell?" Just that kind of ignorance, right? You're going, but like you said, I could have easily gotten pissed off.
Yeah.
And
But even within our own Oceania family, you know, the whole regional Micronesian, Polynesian, Melanesian, like, we need to support each other.
right.
And learn about, you know, our different sort of issues that we've had, or why we came out here to the States, and understanding how to keep connected back home, and the issues that are back home and the issues that are out here
Yes.
that we all face. So break that down and just say we are Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders. We are, you know, Oceania family. You know,
Yeah, we're all
it's
from the
just-
ocean.
yeah.
We're all islanders.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have so many more similarities than we have differences.
Differences, yeah.
And that's what I think trips me out, right? Because, like you said, the kind of silent rivalries that are around, and not only through our different islands, but then even within our own
Yes,
our
subgroups.
own our own subgroups, right? It's like, oh, you're not Samoan enough because you were not born in Samoa, never lived in
Yeah.
Samoa, or you don't speak the language, so you know you're cut off.
Imagine me, like, or even any of the kids that are out here when we go back home. Like, you're constantly thinking you have to be more Chamorro or be more
Absolutely.
indigenous or something like that.
And I do
but-
find that when I do find that with Samoans, I feel like the Samoans that, or at least with what I've witnessed, the Samoans that grow up here in the States, they're constantly feeling like they need to do it up more. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be more Samoan. I'm gonna learn, like, I'm gonna learn these dance moves, and actually, because I feel like they're still not, they have that disconnection from home, right?
Yeah.
From Samoa, and they've never been there, and so they
But
feel
when
like
they
they have
go
something to
home-
prove. Yeah. It was really cool because Joe actually just went to Samoa for the first
Yeah.
time.
Wasn't there a typhoon or hurricane or something?
Yeah, it probably happened when he was there in person. I think they actually name it Typhoon Savage.
Right. I don't doubt that at all.
Joe Sav, coming to the islands again, parts 1, 2, and 3. No, but just hearing his experience of how, like you, when you went at 7 years old, and even to be that young and actually still feel that connection to home and your people and where you come
Yeah.
from, and that was the same for him. You know, he was a lot older, like 67 when he went home.
Right.
So, but to still have that feeling, and it's like he said, it was like a calmness where you kind of search for where you belong all the time, and yet it's here. And,
Yeah.
and to be able to still, that privilege of knowing that we can still go home.
Yes.
And that's what's tough for me right now. So, because, you know, our borders are still not fully open. We have like a flight a month. And that's really tough for us because I take my kids. It's something that I've always wanted to do, is to make sure to take my children home every single year, because I feel like it's an uphill battle with my language. The longer I'm away from home, I find myself thinking more and more in English. And once that happens, you know, I'm struggling to kind of find the words, and that's my first language. My first language is Samoan. And to actually literally, like, I have to admit that to myself, that I'll have to call my brothers or call my parents. I'm like, hey, what's the, and that shame that comes with it, right? And then my children right now not speaking.
Just the smallest things.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's what I do.
Teach
It's
them
like,
the smallest things.
So,
go to sleep.
Yep.
Are you hungry? I'm thirsty.
You want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And they know those things. And my biggest goal is, like, it wasn't lofty. I was like, I just want them to understand. If I can get them to at least understand fluently, then I feel like I've done my part enough, and they can make that choice to actually want to learn how to speak down the road, because our environment, right? You're not surrounded by it. So these are the cards that we're dealt, and we have to kind of work around it and maneuver around it like you have been. So any other events that we have, again, before I let you go? So we have June 5th for your
the
at
Aquarium
the
of the
aquarium.
Pacific.
Okay, here in Southern California. And they can actually watch it virtually. Okay.
They can watch it. They'll see the Pacific Islander Festival.
Okay, and then your website is Kutturan
Chamoru.org.
Okay.
RU.
Okay. And all the information and events that you have going on.
Yeah,
will
or
be on
our
there.
Instagram, Kutturan Chamoru Foundation.
And they actually have, like, a
IG.
donate button on there, right?
On our website.
Good. Okay. The hint, not so subtle. Make sure you support. Okay.
You can go on Mighty Cause.
All right.
You can go on Benevity.
I'm like, my Venmo is.
No.
Well, congratulations on everything that you're doing, and thank you so much for just taking the time out to be a part of Everyone Loves Lulu and schooling us, man.
Everyone does, so hello.
For sure. Shout out to all my Chamorro community, and for actually opening your borders when you did, so I could be born there. I think that it was like in the soil, you know what I mean, at the place. Being in that environment actually made me as awesome as I am, because I'll just take it. I'm part Chamorro. Why not? No.
You are what you eat.
Right? Oh my gosh. Make sure you tune in to Everyone Loves Lulu every Wednesday, brand new episodes on islandblocknetwork.com. See, hear, and speak love. Mwah.
See love, hear love, speak love, everyone loves Lulu. See love, hear love, speak love, everyone loves Lulu.